welcome everybody. Please take a moment maybe to close all the application that you have, maybe put your cell phone on the side and be fully present with us for the 30 minutes to come. We have a lot to talk about and we're pretty excited to have you here in this webinar. And when we start any event in British Columbia and at Railroad University, we like to acknowledge the land that we are on. So Railroad University is on the traditional lands of the Lekwungen and Cosapsan families, known as the Sunhi and Esquimalt nations. So this statement means for us at Railroad that we recognize the importance of Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people relationship as we continue to learn and understand the history, present, and future scopes of Indigenous people. Just making sure everybody's in this good room. We're here to talk about the Master of Arts and Graduate Diploma in Educational Leadership and Management. And with me today, I have Doug Hamilton. If you want to introduce yourself, Doug.
Hi, everyone. I'm, as Nancy said, Doug Hamilton. I'm the head of the MA in Educational Leadership and Management and a professor in the School of Education and Technology. Glad to be joining you for this session.
Wonderful. And behind the scene, we have Tracy Summer. I think Tracy already introduced herself in the chat. So Tracy is with our enrollment team, so she will be able to answer pretty much all the questions you might have today. And for the people at home watching the recording right now, we'll make sure to send all those links in an email for you to be able to access. So quick agenda for today, welcome and introduction. Myself, I forgot to say my name, but I'm Nancy and I'm an education specialist at Railroad University. So we do a bunch of webinars, events, just to tell you more about railroads. And here we'll talk about the railroad experience, the program overview. I think this is what most of you are looking for, admission and application process, and we'll answer questions and have a conversation with you as we go. Railroad University, maybe you can use your little reaction button here to let me know if you came to campus before. Maybe use a thumbs up or heart if you have visited our beautiful campus. So as we are a university for working professional, here at Railroad, students will bring real challenges and opportunity from their workplace into the classroom. So there's no division between the theory and practice as we do real world problem solving in real time. You see the campus on the top left, we have the gardens on the top right, the Esquimalt Lagoon, on the bottom left. So for some of you that will join the program and will come on campus for residency, you will see the beautiful campus. We have 565 acres of land that you can enjoy. And at the bottom right, it's a reminder that Railroads is an online institution since day one. So we do online programs blended as this present program is, and on-campus programs. So really from day one, we are ready to be online if we need to, compared to some institutions that had to pivot in the past years. We have been online since 1995. And moving forward, I think I can pass it to you, Doug, and we'll do the program structure here.
Great, great. I'm going to spend about the next 10 minutes just giving you a fairly quick overview of the program and the kinds of skills and competencies that you'll be working on, etc. And then we'll leave some time at the end for further questions as well. So Nancy's going to help me here with turning the slide. So in essence, what this program is all about is it's really intended to help existing and inspiring leaders in K-12 environments, schools, school districts, provincial offices or state offices, really stretch their leadership skills and knowledge, and to be able to apply this to your own context. As Nancy said earlier, we really focus on the application of theory and concepts and new ideas to each of your own professional contexts. I like to think of the program not as a leadership development program, but more as a leadership enhancement program. So we really like to start with your own skill set and how can you can continue to develop and enhance the existing skill set that you have by the integration of new skills and new ways of thinking about education and new ways of thinking about leadership in schools as well. And we'll move to the next slide. Thanks, Nancy. So I guess conceptual drawing is really intended to explain or depict the relationship between leadership and learning, which is really at the heart of our program. And it's really sort of a symbiotic relationship between leadership and learning. And as we apply it to our own leadership and our own learning, and also supporting the leadership of others, as well as the learning of others. Um, you're all probably engaged in some sort of leadership role already, where not only are you looking after your own professional development and professional growth, but you maybe we're looking after, first of all, students learning, but also your staff's learning or your colleagues learning, and potentially parents and community members as well. So you'll notice that this is a thread that goes throughout our program, this connection between leadership and learning all the way through it. Around the outside of this circle, you'll see the various sort of skill sets that we're hoping that when you're in the program that you'll have an opportunity to be able to enhance while you're with us, and be able to take the learning, not just at the end of the program, but as you're going through the program, and apply it to your practice. So in essence, what we want to be able to do is really help you make a difference in your own life, but also in the lives of others and the people that you work with, your students, staff members, etc. Thanks, Nancy. So just as, this is sort of an overview, and then the next slide we'll get into this in more detail. But in essence, our program is a 2-year MA program, the master's program. And we have 2 completion options. One is a thesis and the other is a research paper, and I'll describe a little more detail about that in a minute. But we also have a partnership with the International Baccalaureate organization to be able to offer the advanced certificate in leadership research. So that's one of the key sort of demarcations, I guess, of our program compared to perhaps other programs you may be looking at. If you choose to decide that, I don't know if I'm ready for a full master's, but I would like to, get a start, and either consider, just having not just having, but having a graduate diploma in educational leadership, that's an option that's available to you. At the end of that program, you can make the decision to apply to do the master's, or you may just say, this is enough for me, and I'll perhaps consider in the future coming back and doing the rest of the program to complete my master's. So we have 2 completion options for you within the program. Thanks, Nancy. So at a glance, the one thing that I should mention is you'll see Residency 1 listed here. So this year, we're really, really pleased to be able to offer our program in its traditional format, which includes a 2-week face-to-face residency on this beautiful campus that we have at Royal Roads that you've seen photos of previously. In the last 2 years, of course, with COVID-19, we've had to offer the program in a fully online model. But the great thing about Royal Roads is since 1995, we've been leaders in blended and online learning in Canada. So we have the expertise to be able to make a pivot, which we've been able to do in the last 2 years to online learning. But we're really anxious to have you back on campus, and I'm sure through your interest, you're probably pretty anxious to connect with your classmates and your faculty and staff at Royal Roads to in a face-to-face environment. So our program starts off before the residency with a 2-week, what we call the link, orientation to Royal Roads, an orientation to our program, an orientation to your classmates, and really that's intended to sort of set you up for success for the remainder of your time at Royal Roads. And then we move into the first 2 courses. EDLM 501 and 505, which are delivered in a blended format. There's a 2-week pre-residency period, then 2 weeks on campus, followed by 3 weeks after residency back online. And then the rest of the program will be delivered online. So your only face-to-face opportunity is that 2-week residency at the beginning, pretty well at the beginning of the program. But we want to make the program, or we've designed the program to be as flexible as possible to your own circumstances. So that's why there's really only one residency. And then, so the first year involves these 4 courses, EDLM 510 through to 560. And then the folks who are taking a graduate diploma will be finish their program. And then the second year, we have 2 routes. One is, and the most commonly route is the research project route that involves a series of follow-up courses and then a what we call EDLM 610, which is a capstone project where you get to look at the research related to a topic of your choice and then do a small scale study within your own professional context, hopefully aimed at being able to focus on transformative change with regard to whatever your topic is. And then the other option we have available is a thesis route, and this is a competitive route, meaning that you would need to apply to be able to do the thesis. And usually we accept between 1, 2, possibly 3 applicants to do the thesis. And instead of doing the courses 5 EDLM 570 through to 525, you would have more time to do your research and prepare your thesis. So you would have the LEART 600, which is the advanced research course where you develop your thesis proposal, and then you have the actual thesis course where it gives you an opportunity to be able to gather your data and also write up your thesis. So those are the 2 options. Again, the thesis route is really a competitive process. So there's no guarantees that you would be able to do that route. It's not an automatic route. And that's just to ensure that you have the best supervision possible for your thesis. Okay, thanks, Nancy.
Yeah. Well, I have a few questions in the chat related to
Sure.
this slide here. So thank you for your explanation. I really like the kind of step 1 to 3. Someone just messaged me that they like the fact that they can start with the graduate diploma and then transfer to the master, as you mentioned. So that's a very good one. And if I can say, I think residents on campus, you're so right. People are really excited to be there and experience railroad. So that's a good point. Someone is asking about what is the size of the cohort in general? And I know it can depend from year to year.
Usually between 20 and 30. In the last few years, our cohorts have been closer to 30 learners. And the great thing about that size is that there's lots of opportunities throughout the program to work with different classmates. So one of the key aspects that we emphasize within the program is team-based learning. So throughout your program, you would have the opportunity to work with pretty well almost all the rest of your classmates on different team assignments, etc. So what we like about having classes between 20 and 30 is that they're large enough that there's enough diversity in the cohorts usually, as well as again, that opportunity to work with various classmates.
Wonderful. And that makes me think of a question I get often by applicants is for the residency, for example, you're fully on campus. How many hours is that? Would you have what would be, for example, how many hours when we're online and how many hours when we're on residency?
So in residency, our days are 2 weeks of basically 5 days a week, 8:30. Usually we start 8:30 with introductions and sort of maybe a community building activity. That's the other emphasis we place on the cohort-based model that we have is, building an inclusive, vibrant learning community. So we usually start every day with a community building activity or maybe announcements as well. And then from 9 through till 4, you would be engaged in the 2 courses that would be delivered in residency, as well as sessions from our writing center, about the kinds of support that they would offer for academic writing. We invite our representative from who's our team coach in from our team's teaming department, who will talk about the support that team coach provides to team learning as you go through the program. So what we try to do in residency is not only connect you with your faculty, but connect you to the people who are going to be supporting you for the rest of your 2 years. So you can put a face to a name, and you will be comfortable, hopefully, contacting them once you're back online as well.
Wonderful. And someone in the chat is asking if residency is for international academic students. So I would say yes.
Sorry, I missed that question.
Someone is asking, I think that person is from outside Canada, and they're saying, is the residency open to everyone? So I think the answer is yes. You'll have everyone from the program coming to campus.
Absolutely. In fact, the residency is a requirement of the program. So if you're an international student and you're unable to make it, unfortunately, that we would probably recommend that you defer your registration in the program until the next year. The residency is a really important part. It's a critical part of the program, actually. So we don't have an option for not coming to the residency. Of course, now if COVID protocols change and we have another outbreak, we'll take our advice, recommendations from the provincial Ministry of Health, and if we need to pivot to a fully online, back to a fully online model that we've had for the last 2 years, we would do that. But we're hoping that that's not going to be the case.
Wonderful.
And Nancy, you had the other question that you had. I just want to make sure I've provided some information about, how much time is required when you're working online.
Mm-hmm.
It's I could say 10 hours a week on average, but I think the reality is that learners spend a little bit more time each week, especially at the beginning of the program. You're getting comfortable working online. You're excited about doing readings, and perhaps you're still working out how to best manage your online time. And that's something what we would talk about within the orientation is, just some tips on, how can you work in the best possible way to have success within the program. One of the things that we really value about the program is that it is cohort based. So there's lots of opportunities for you to be able to give support and provide support, and get support from your colleagues as you go through the program. We also have a very high graduation rate as a result. So between 85 and 90% graduation rate, which is very high for a master's program. So we think the cohort model has a lot to do with that, and it's certainly been borne out in practice. So one other point about working online is that I think you'll find too, depending on your background in the particular course, that you'll that it would depend on, you might need, if this is a new course for you and if you don't have any previous knowledge within that particular area, you might find that you're doing additional reading. So it might be more of an investment in that particular course. But we try to make it as manageable as possible. But also that we can ensure that that you're going to be able to graduate at the end, hopefully, with the amount of work that is involved in each course. And just for those folks in BC and Alberta, we are an approved program through the Teachers Qualification Services in the respective provinces. So that's just something to note. And Nancy will go to the next slide. And I did make reference to this earlier. If you are in an IB school and or have been in an IB school, and we have a partnership with the International Baccalaureate Organization to be able to offer their IB Advanced Certificate in Leadership Research in conjunction with our program. We're one of only a few programs across the world, actually, that has this kind of partnership with the IBO. And it basically means that you would orient your assignments towards IB issues, IB contexts, but also once you've graduated from the program, you can apply to be able to receive your IB Advanced Certificate in Leadership Research. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in residency. But for this certificate, it really only applies to people who have either formal or informal leadership within an IB context already. Okay.
Very useful. Thank you so much. And I'll move on to how to apply, but feel free maybe, Doug, to look in the chat and maybe answer a few more questions and jump in when I go over the next slides. So as people get excited, we're like, oh, we want to learn more. How can we apply to that program? Here is the admission requirement, and all this information is on the website. So if you go to railroads.ca, and I said that Tracy shared a few links, so you just go there, you click on the program, and you will get all those details about admissions, application, documents. I saw a question in the chat about the English requirement. All is listed on the website. So at Railroads, we have two types of admissions. We have the standard one. And for this program, we ask educational professional with a 4-year undergrad degree in a related field from a recognized post-secondary institution, as well as relevant work experience. If that you don't qualify for that, you don't need to check anything when you apply. Our team will just look at your experience and maybe move you to what we call the flexible admission. So to go into the program with flexible admission, you need some undergrad education and significant relevant work experience to be eligible. And we do it on a case-by-case basis. And what that reminds me as well is that you can apply already today, even if you're looking for example, 2023 cohort. So we deal with admission on a daily basis. So you don't have to wait for the deadline. You don't have to wait too long. You can start your application today, and then we move you, we help you with the next steps. Especially, I see that we have a few people from abroad, from outside Canada. So it might take a few months to process all documents. So we always encourage people to start early and then get enough time to get into the program. And how to apply, the question we all ask ourselves. So you will go again online at railroads.ca. You will find the application bottom, and you will see all the steps to follow. It's pretty simple. It's an online application. You'll pay that $128.81 fee, and then you will start sharing with us your documents. So talking about those documents, we'll ask for you to provide official transcript. So any education you got from post-secondary institution, we'll need your transcript for that. We also ask you to provide a personal statement, and it's quite a fun part to do this one, because you have to reflect on who you are, what is your past, where you want to go, the why you should get into that program. So it's very exciting to write your statement to kind of convince our team why you should be accepted in the program. And then what I recommend is you use that statement to share it with 2 people that will write your letters of reference. So your letter of reference can come from someone who knows you outside work. That can be an old professor or someone that you volunteer with. So someone that can tell us a bit more about yourself and your strengths. And we ask as well a work-related letter of reference. So that can be someone that you work with again, or you have worked in the past. On top of those, we ask for a structured resume. So this is a resume that will highlight your education, work experience, volunteer, and maybe any training and professional affiliation you may have. Anything to add to this, Doug?
No, well, one thing, Nancy, just the statement of interest. I'm glad you highlighted that, because that's a really sort of important document it, because not only for us, but for yourself, in terms of being able to ask yourself why this program, why now, and how you feel that this program like this, like the MOUM program, will help you in your professional career. So it is an important part of the process. It also allows us, if we need to come back to you at some point and just ask you a few further questions about the fit between your interests and your goals and this program, whether or not there's any clarification that's required. We've had cases where people have applied to programs at Royal Roads. They've got a great statement of interest. They've got great letters of reference, but we look at your application and we say, I think there's a better fit with another program. And so that's one of the other reasons why that statement of interest is helpful to us, is be able to review it so that we have a full appreciation of the fit between your interests and what we can offer you.
Yeah, and I got a question in the chat from someone asking me, is it okay if I've been out of school for a few years and coming back to school now? And I think the answer for myself, what I see with other programs is yes. We have a lot of people that haven't been to university for 10, 15 years, and they come back with us.
Yes, Nancy. I mean, in fact, that's the norm. I mean, because of your comments you started with. I mean, our primary focus of Royal Roads is meeting the needs of mid-career learners or in-career learners, and that's also why we require work experience before you come into the program. But if you've been in a school for 5, 10, 15, sometimes 20 years, your undergraduate work is long in the distance, and so that's also why we focus on the pre-orientation process before you start your courses, so that you can start getting yourself prepared for coming back into school. Because we understand that you may have some anxieties. You're excited. We know that. But we also know that you may be thinking, oh, well, I haven't been learning sort of in a formal academic setting for a while. But that's fine. And in fact, that's the norm. So we're really set up to support you as you go through the program with that in mind.
Great points, thank you. And here are the upcoming intakes. So we have the program starting in June. I saw Tracy posted the schedule on the chat. So the deadline for this application is May 13, which is coming in a few weeks. And again, if you need more time or if you want to apply today and just ask to be in the 2023 cohort, there's no problem. We have room for that. And this one will be June 12, 2023. And as Doug just mentioned, going back to school, there's a lot of anxiety and excitement. So financial aid, we know, is a crucial component. So maybe if you want to take a picture or a print screen of that slide and connect with our team in the financial aid at Royal Roads, they have so many resources. They're very helpful. They can tell you more about the external loans and grants, as well as what we can do internally. So feel free to connect with this team. And my last slide here, I know we're a few minutes over. If some people need to go, that's fine, but we just have a few more minutes together. And here is how to connect with us. So you can even scan that QR code right now with your cell phone and connect with the enrollment team, or you can go online on the website to the tab Contact Us, and you can as well give us a call or email learn.more@royalroads.ca for domestic students. And if you're from abroad, learn.more.international@royalroads.ca. And this is really the best people there to let you know the next step, how you can get into that program. And maybe I'll post this little blog here. I really like it, from the School of Education and Technology. So this is a blog with many of the instructor posting, some students have posted. So feel free to check out the blog. And thank you so much for your time today. If there's any urgent question, we can stay online. And if not, we look forward to seeing you in another webinar. Thank you so much, Doug and Tracy. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thanks for coming. Thank you. All the best.